Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Game number 3, the last game of the day in this Code S group, is Zerg versus Terran, and to the top right, we have him again in the red. This is our Zerg player. This is
Empire Violet.
Violet doing great today, but he lost the last game, and now it is all down to this one match on Daybreak. Who is going to advance? Is it going to be Violet, or is it going to be
our Terran player in the blue, the 7 o'clock position, once known as Next TaeJa? He is now known as
Liquid TaeJa.
He also was known as Slayer's TaeJa, but I didn't have time to say that Street Fighter voice.
Cut you off like a boss.
Well, I think we are going to see a command center first from TaeJa, as he has not produced a barracks yet. And Violet looks to be going hatch first as well.
Wow, the last games were really awesome between these two, and I am so looking forward to this third game. We have the hatch at 15 for Violet, no surprises here. Let's see how he's going to start into this match and what TaeJa is doing. He's actually starting with a command center on 14.
Very fast, and he almost killed that SCV, but the drone will be warded off. Close call there. Now, I gotta ask you a question. We talked about movies briefly. Do you prefer Pixar or DreamWorks production for animation? That drone.
No preference. Both are good.
Yeah, actually, I feel the same way. I'm glad you and I feel the same on this. Some people are really hardcore, but actually, I like them both.
No, they're both really good. Gas again, by the way.
Yeah, gas again, but this time, I think it's going to be different.
Yeah, this time it's definitely going to be different, especially on this map with the... Well, you can make early roaches, you can make them work, but I think on this map in particular, if you really want to start with some kind of roach attack, the roach baneling bust that you have is your safer option. This is something that was done by Simple just recently. He made this work against several players in the GSL, and I would really love to see it again. TaeJa now is waiting for his command center to finish. He's supply block at this point. He can't produce. He's actually heavily supply block and needs to wait for his command center to be ready so that he has supply freed up, and then he will dump his resources into an orbital command tech. There it is, number 2.
Yep. At this point, he's seen the gas with his SCV. Now, again, the roach transition is possible. You may see the same build. I just don't feel like that's what Violet has planned. It's rare that you see someone execute the same build twice, but you do see it every now and then. Barracks being lifted back up to the high ground. He is going to reactor out some Hellions, and he's adding 2 additional barracks as well. We may see Marine Hellion medevac type of push with a few Marauders mixed in as well.
He might go for the roach baneling. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, he may.
But
he's actually cut out. He's pulled out of gas.
Oh yeah, he just did, but he was still mining for quite a while. So I saw him mining after he finished, after he started his gas. His speed. And I was like, okay, sorry, my mistake. I mixed up the two.
Yeah,
the
it's
two gas
fine.
tabs.
That happens from time to time.
I mixed up the 2 gas tabs. I actually thought he was still mining gas, and now I just realized that I actually.
Well, the thing is, usually
watched that Terran player.
Usually, the Terran has 2 gases, so you can watch the Terran gas go up. It goes up faster, but in this case, he only took 1, so I can see why you got confused there. As they kind of switched when he went to 0, but at this point, I'm wondering, what, like, even with a fast Zergling speed, the advantage of this is clear. You can catch reinforcements. Okay, so he's making the Roach Warren now. Now you can catch reinforcements if your opponent goes for an attack. You can control the map a little bit more comfortably. You can take a third base a little bit more comfortably as well. But it's a lot of gas spent, and it's a lot of time spent in that, guys. There's a lot of resources lost. We're going to see a bunker block at the 3rd.
And we have the Roach Warren, and we have... How much gas does he actually have? He just built an additional... one additional... How many? Let me just check something. Okay, he's at 37. He gets additional drones. If he does not stop drone production right now, he will not go for baneliness as well. But with the gas that he currently has, he can build a couple of roaches, and he can still start a baneliness. I don't really think that's... No, it's not happening. He has the double evolution chamber. But this is something that you have to be quite scared of when you're a Terran player. So you always have to watch out for this kind of attack. This kind of build.
And we do see that there are 4 Hellions made. He's stopped Hellion production briefly here. We'll start a command, so it looks like he's saving up for that. The Hellions have shown themselves. He's going to make just 5 roaches. They're going to be used defensively only. Probably leave a few roaches as third base. May even bring a roach or 2 with his queen that's spreading creep to that third base location, just to be safe. He's only gone up to 3 queens, which is something he seems to like, and not only in this matchup, but against Protoss as well. 1 queen per hatch. And see, this is what the roaches are for. He's going to defend the queens. He knows that TaeJa has the proclivity to actually attack his own Hellions and queens to kill tumors, so he really wants to deal with those. Something that gave him a little bit of trouble in this best of 3. And this early run by was shut down, but could have been worse. It scouts the composition. He sees Marauders and Marines. And this is going to let him know that his opponent is already producing Marauders. And that can be scary, because when your opponent's making Marauders this early in the game, it's not something you normally see. And it leads you to believe, well, is he skipping tanks? What sort of composition is he going for exactly? Is he going for Marauder, Marine, Hellion push? Something that I've never seen before, potentially. You know, there's a lot of different options.
You know, the baneliness now for Violet, who tries to prepare for all the eventualities that there are. He has 3 queens, so he's not relying heavily on queens, which we've seen from him in the last few games as well. This is kind of just his style. But, to me, this game is like so tense just because it's the last game in the series and it's all or nothing. Either you advance to the round of 8 or you are out. It's what it comes down to today. We already have MVP out of Code S. We have, well, not out of Code S, but out of the group today.
Out of the group, yeah. He's not advancing
for this season.
Right.
Exactly. And we have Seed advancing. So this is the last game. This is what it comes down to. Both of them know it. It is just such a really tense situation, and they must be so nervous. And right now, with all these Hellions, there is just the potential of you being able to sneak the Hellions past your opponent's units and getting into the mineral line. This feels like the best thing ever to you. But Violet is everywhere. He has those roaches at his Zanaga Watchtower at his third base, and now he's trying to make good use of the creep and the additional speed advantage. But the Banelings are not fast enough, and all those Zerglings, they actually, not all of them die. But this was like...
That was actually a fairly even trade.
That was fairly even, yeah. Resources lost in total. We have 1,100 against 1,300. That was fairly even. But TaeJa lost all the units he had on the map. So this gives Violet the map control.
Yeah, he has map control. He can continue to spread that creep very carefully. He was doing the tumors 1 by 1 because he only has the 3 queens, as I mentioned, making 8 more drones out. Fast infestation pit, but I really like this timing. After killing those units, he knows that making the infestors is not really going to be a risk for him. He can't really be killed or attacked, so his opponent wouldn't be able to catch him off guard while he's making those infestors. Zerglings do spot the third base going down for TaeJa. The supply pretty even at this point, though. And look at how ahead the upgrades are for Violet. The Armory just now finishing, so we can start the 2-2. But the upgrades for Violet are going to be significantly ahead, and this can come into play in several key engagements. If TaeJa moves out when his opponent has better upgrades than him, will that happen? We don't know yet, but if that does happen, that can change the tide of battle very quickly, especially when he's going to have fast infestors like this. And 2-2, still not started for TaeJa, even though he has the Armory and he has the resources for it. He needs to start that ASAP, or he's going to be in a lot of trouble.
That's going to be a problem, but also this drop, he just passes the Overlord, so Violet knows exactly what's going on. He needs to prepare for this in time. He has a couple of Spine Crows and Spore Crows, but will he be really ready for this? Banelings, is he able to bait the Banelings out? TaeJa, that is. If he's able to drop one... let's see, how much damage is this going to do?
Loses the tank. That was a pretty big loss, and now he's going to be counterattacked. There's very few units left.
Yeah, the counterattack is starting. He's moving in right now with the Zerglings, trying to completely embrace this army. Takes down the siege tanks and all of the Marines. Doing a really, really great job. TaeJa not able to make his drop count. And this was so important. Violet with a perfect defense in his main base and at the same time pressuring his opponent's third.
I love that because he's taking a 4th right now. He saw 3 drops go into his main base, and the 3 drops in the main base, what does that mean? That means a lot of his army is misplaced. It's been placed into dropships. It's not at home defending. He may just see a big army at the third base regardless and go home, but this buys him time to get these infestors out. He targeted down 1 siege tank. He got the second one. That makes his infestors a lot stronger. I mean, the siege tank count right now is just at 2. A second one did just pop out. But I mean, you want as many siege tanks as possible to deal with the infestors and the banelings. And without those tanks, it's just very difficult to engage as a Terran. He's continuing to stay on top of these drops, leaving just enough units in his main base. And at this point, TaeJa is, he's not like at a huge disadvantage where he can't recover. But Violet is definitely ahead. And once this 4th base finishes, the Hive is finishing, he is looking great.
The problem is that everything is going Violet's way. He can do whatever he wants, and this is something that you never want to happen when you're a Terran player. You want to disturb your opponent. You want to always just make sure that the Zerg machinery is not working properly. And that's something that currently he was not able to do. Once again, the dropships get spotted by the Overlord. He's moving in, but Violet is ready. He's even building more Spore Crawlers, more Spine Crawlers, and he has Zerglings in position too.
Yep, he cleans it up, no problem. There's another attack going on at the right side of the map as well, though, and the drop is actually not 100% cleaned up yet. The Queen's targeting the medevac. Well, now targeting Marines, needs to be careful with those, but the attack at the right side has been thwarted as well. It's been picked up, and he may actually catch this medevac.
126 Zerglings on the map right now.
That's a lot.
3rd base has also been spotted. He knows that there's, sorry, the 4th. He knows that there's a 4th coming up and that he's trying to take it right now. Let's see how Violet reacts. This is actually triggering a push out from him, but TaeJa is moving onto the map. Violet is aware of his opponent's position there, takes down the drop in the main base. Just
barely survives, but it's not going to be coming back anytime soon. That low on hit points. There's only 3 Marines left in there.
Oh,
Violet going for the attack. The tanks are on siege.
What a fungal! What a fungal! Oh, wow! TaeJa! His entire Bioforce. Oh.
He didn't only grab that army, man. He may have grabbed his Code S round of 8 spot with that fungal. Oh my god. He is tearing through the army of TaeJa. He's at the natural. He saves his infestors.
Exactly. At the same time, he realizes, okay, I did add a lot of damage, but this is all that I'm going to do here. I'm going to retreat with my infestors now. I will sacrifice my Zerglings. Everything is going well so far. And everything does.
He's sending his roaches to harass the 4th. He knows about it. He's got 6 Ultras on the way.
TaeJa has not lost this game yet.
Yeah,
not at all.
Not at all, man.
So it's not like Violet can suddenly just relax it back in his chair and be like, okay, I did it. No, he has to really work for this, and TaeJa makes him work. TaeJa always does. But everything that Violet did so far went well. The fungal was important.
I'm concerned because there's only 3 infestors out right now, and that's not enough. He needs I mean, if the fungal that he got last time with just those 3 infestors was great, but that's not going to happen that way all the time, especially when his opponent's not unsieged.
That is a very, very good point. He needs more infestors. When you are facing this time a kind of composition, and when you're relying on Ultralisk and you face this kind of composition, you need more infestors. Because those siege tanks are bound to catch 1 or 2 infestors. And Violet, we've seen that earlier, he sometimes struggled a little bit with his infestor micro. So him relying on 3 infestors is risky because he would need the perfect fungals if he wants to face a full-fledged Terran army on 200 supply.
You're right. The +2 is almost done for the tanks. It's not quite done. Let's see when Violet wants to go. It looks like he's going to set up somewhat of a flank, sending Ultras around the right side first. Now coming at the bottom.
He's moving in now. He's leading the charge. The links around the siege tanks from 2 sides. He's going in. There are the first fungals. And immediately the first infestor dies. The second one dies as well. Only 1 left. But the Ultras close the distance. They go into close combat mode and start taking down those Marines. But there is too much firepower for TaeJa. This is
what I'm talking about, man, with the infestors. He only had 3. He didn't have enough fungals to support the Ultras. Now, I mean, is he making more? No. I mean, he's starting 1 right now, but 1 is not enough. It looks like Violet just does not like to make very many infestors. The 5 Ultras he's making right now is spending a ton of gas on those, and he can't actually use those without infestors.
Well, these Ultralisks won't be done for another few seconds, and this gives TaeJa the chance to just use his momentum and go ahead to set up a nice flank. But here we had a bit of an attack at the 5th base of TaeJa, but here comes a small poke by TaeJa's Marauders trying to kill one of the hatches and forcing Violet to attack into the siege tank range. The last
+3 is all on the way for the siege tanks, +3 armor soon as well. Is he going to commit right now? He's got this group of units on the low ground. He's going to try to bait into the tanks. He was likely going to lose this hatchery. There's not much he can do about it.
It's just the position that TaeJa now has. He was able to get into this position
this
because
is terrible. He cannot fight here.
What did he do? Violet. I think that he missed the whole position. He's going to lose that base.
Yeah, TaeJa just positioned himself really, really nicely with tanks on the high ground. He takes out the hatchery here and will pull back.
He was able to do this because Violet overcommitted. He tried to make the last fight happen, and he did a fair amount of damage. He took down all these tanks, which was really important. But without the Infestor support, he could not place those, well, just pin those Marines under the ground to make his melee units really do all the damage that he needed to do.
He only has
TaeJa, like,
he still only has 2 Infestors.
the whole game kind of went in Violet's, how Violet envisioned it. But now, things have turned. TaeJa is the one ahead. He's getting 2 additional starports. He's actually preparing for everything. He knows that the transition into Broodlords would be devastating to him. So him getting 2 additional starports, maybe even adding the reactors, that is already countering what Violet is trying to do now.
Yep. Violet has started the Greater Spire. His 6 Corruptors just popped out, but TaeJa knows this is one thing that might give him some trouble, so he's preparing. He may not even start Viking production until he sees Broodlords, but at least he's made the production facilities he needs. And this drop at the bottom right will be cleaned up. This is perhaps the most important engagement. The tanks were in siege. That's great for Violet, but his Zerglings are dying so rapidly, and where are the bungles? There are none. The supply of Violet plummeting here, and this may be the end for him in his run of Codas.
This is exactly why Ultilusts, when they are alone, suck. And look at have you seen the face when he defeated this army? He's moving in, he takes down the base to the bottom right. Violet, he had TaeJa, he had TaeJa's number, but then suddenly the Terran player for Team Liquid, he is going into Chuck Norris mode.
Yeah,
and
he is.
He's turning Super Saiyajin right now. My power meter is reading 9,000.
And look at this, the Broodlords will push this first army back, but he's coming from 2 sides now. He's actually just going to ignore this, go into the natural. Great positioning here on his Marines. And TaeJa, even if he loses his entire army, he's got 2,000, 2,000. He starts Vikings.
It started with a 4th base for TaeJa. This is the one thing that Violet should have tried to take down. 4 bases for Terran is always a bad sign, and when you don't win one of these huge fights and you're suddenly behind in army, then things go, well, they go sour, and now we have 83 supply against 186.
12 medevacs still remain alive. That's so many.
TaeJa is just seconds, maybe a minute or 2 away
8
from
Infestors,
claiming
man.
victory here, from advancing Codas.
8 Infestors on the way, and
too late.
I think 8 Infestors is probably more than all the Infestors he's lost so far this entire game, and he needed them way earlier than now.
The income for TaeJa is insane.
I love this. He's actually going to drop under the Broodlords.
Yeah.
And that's just going to end the game.
Underneath the Broodlords. All of them die. Violet, he types GG. This is it. Here we go.
GG.
He had... Violet a good shot at claiming a spot in Codas in the round of 8, but it is Liquid TaeJa who advances. But he must be really relieved now.
Yeah, and Violet, you know, he looked really good today. That's the most important thing to note, I think, is that even though he lost here today, he will remain in Codas if he chooses to, and he and MVP are still going to be around next season. Like I said, if Violet chooses to, he may decide to go home, but I think he's probably going to stay here for next season. You know, his training here looks like it's really paid off. He's staying with MVP, by the way. I did confirm that.
Violet was just standing there in the booth, or sitting in the booth, and he was like, how did that happen? I had this game. I had him. And then
Infestors, man.
And then I let it slip away. The 4th base important, the Infestors not in the fight. And after this fight, this one fight was actually just what happened. Because he lost his army, he could not pressure the 4th base, he was never able to take the 4th down, he never even really attacked it. And with the momentum that TaeJa gained in the army that was still remaining after the engagement at the 5th base that TaeJa tried to set up, he could just move onto the high ground, position his siege tanks, and with this position of the siege tanks, those Marauders step in, attack the hatch, and as soon as the units start to engage, move back a little bit into the siege tank rage. It was brilliant play by TaeJa, very positional, and he did it.
Yeah.
Seed and TaeJa, they are going to advance.
Yeah, MVP and Violet, they will be in Codas next season, but all 4 players today showed great games. You know, actually, to be honest, who showed not the worst games, but the games where I feel like he showed the least of his talent was Seed, who actually got first place in the group. He actually just went 2 best of 3s, one of them very unique, and the other one just very short and to the point.
But let's be honest about it. this is not about playing the most attractive style. This is about winning.
It's about
and
winning,
if
man.
you see a chance, if you know how a player plays, and you know this is the way to take him down, then you do it.
And you know, now he's going to have less strategies available for his opponents in the round of 8 to study. The round of 8 opponent, the round of 4 opponent, he showed so little today and such weird play that it's going to be hard for his opponents to repair from. They're not going to be like, well, what did he do in the round of 16? He 4-gated, so I guess he might do that, but I can't really prepare that that's what he's going to do because that's all about seeing it at the moment. So
it was really well done. We had great results today. We had great matches. Some of them were really short, but we have a quick look at how exactly the games today played out.
Yep, here is our result page. I thought. There it is. There it is, sneaking up on us. IMC and TaeJa, of course, advancing. And actually, Violet and MVP are in the round 3 of Code A. I was mistaken heavily. I thought they were still in Code S, but with the new format, they're in round 3. If they win that round, they will be back in Code S, and if not, they will be in the up and down matches. But they will likely win. I mean, these two guys, based on their performance today, let's get real for a minute. They're not going to lose their round 3 matches.
Well, I don't know. To tell you the truth, we had a couple of upsets, so it's not going to be easy. It depends on who they are going to face, but they really have to prepare for this match. If they take it lightly, then they might face a season in Code A. Right now, here is the grid to the final, and we'll find out today. Tomorrow, Group B.
Yeah, Squirtle,
That
Symbol,
is-
Marine King, and MC, man.
The group of death. This is like, wow. Symbol and Marine King, and then you even have Squirtle and MC. How did that happen?
Well, you can
it's
watch
crazy.
you can watch the group nominations to find out.
This is insane. Just watching the names makes me shiver. It's like, wow.
All of our groups are like this season. All the players in Code S who advanced to the round of 16. There were hardly any upsets in the round of 32. We've had one today in the round of 16, but in the round of 32, the group stage was just full of stars. Naniwa advanced, Genius is here. You know, it's just everything that you would expect. ST got through, MVP got through.
That's also going to be a great group with Naniwa against Genius, this battle that they've been going on. And there's not a single Zerg player for Naniwa, who also said that this is the race that he struggles again the most right now. He says that he trains a lot against Zerg because he feels this is the matchup where he has to improve the most. Currently, he's focusing on GSL, of course. But still, this is going to be a great group. And tomorrow, well, Group B, Group of Death. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's show. This was the first group, Group A, in the kind of round of 16 in the group stage for the GSL Code S. And we'll see you tomorrow. Hope you have a great evening. Bye-bye.
If I could do this over, I'd make it last forever and keep it all together. But every day, I think about the mistakes I've made. I could have had it all. GSL.